always a pleasure to come here, and in fact, a thought that struck me as I walked through the doors on a day where, for the first half of the day, we don't say shalom, we don't greet people, and I always say the reason is so that we should feel how it is for somebody who walks down the street and nobody says hello to him. And Tisha B'Av's the day when we must feel that. But when you walk into this shul, I wondered what would have happened if, as in this shul, as you come in, you get such a warm smile and hello. If Kanzo at his chasna would have welcomed everybody as they walked through the door, maybe the tragedy wouldn't have happened and it would have all been settled in the lobby. Today, I would like to speak about something very simple, yet relevant and extremely important. In the first kinna that we said this morning, Eicho atzto be'apecho, how did you rush in your fury to exterminate? V'lo zocharto bris bein habesorim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how did you not remember the bris bein habesorim? And we go on and on. V'lo zocharto the ligas diluk derek. You don't remember how you redeemed Klal Yisrael, jumping over the Yetzias Mitzrayim. On and on. Hashem, you don't remember the Chasana at Har Sinai. And it's a little bit strange, because we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how did you do this to us? Do you not remember? And the next word should be what we did for you. But it's not. Go through the whole kinna, and it's, do you not remember what you did for us? Zechor Hashem mehoyolonu. We must understand that at each stanza when we say Zechor Hashem mehoyolonu, we're not saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ei chosisolonu, because there's no give and take over here. We're not saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how could you have done this when we did so much for you? We're saying, how could you do this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you did so much for us? Strange. So what is the Zechor Hashem mehoyolonu? It's not how did you do this, but how did this happen? How did we take so many opportunities that we had and completely squander them? Zechor Hashem mehoyolonu. Oy mehoyolonu. Alelaili. Oyoli. The whole way through the kinnas is describing what we had and what we have. It's a kinna, and all the kinnas are about people who had flourishing businesses, people who were living at the top, and with one stupid move, they lost everything. I have a friend who, for a few stupid averas that he did, he's sitting in prison for 13 years, and he's ruined his whole life. I have boys in my shir, and I do them a mivtzah. We do a contest, and if you get so much and so much, you will go on the tiyul. And inevitably, there's that child who comes a week before the end and says, Rabbi, am I still in? And there comes a time when you're not in anymore. You've lost that opportunity. What did we have? We had the ketores. Somebody who smelled the ketores immediately did tshuva. The Shira Salavim, who again, anybody who heard the Shira Salavim, even from far, was choyze de tshuva. We had the Simchas Beis HaSha'eva. Anybody understand what it means? Shemishom shoyavim ruach HaKodesh. From there we drew divine inspiration. You know how it felt to live with divine inspiration? Do we know what it feels that when we have a shaila and we have to search for an eitzah, and you had a novi who you could talk to, and he had an eitzah, he had the Dvar Hashem there in his hands? We had the big day kahuna, And there's one kinna which is totally talking about the big day kahuna and the klei shoris that were in the Beis Hamikdash. Each one of the big day kahuna were mechaper for a different aveira. One for Lashon Hara, one for Azus Metzach. We had the Korban Tomid, from which we say once a week, Mesois Kol Haaretz. It was the simcha, it was the joy of the land. Why was the Korban Tomid the joy of the land? Because the one of the morning was mechaper on every aveira that a person did the night before, and the afternoon one, early evening one, was mechaper for every aveira that somebody did during the day. Us, with all the layers of dirt and grime on our neshamas, from the lack of ability to clean our slate, and then we just go further and further in the grime. You know what it felt like to be cleaned every day, twice a day? We had parnasa, we had shalom, we had atzlochas in every area. I once heard from a Maggid in Yerushalayim, he said you'll find a tremendous thing. That everywhere you ask for geula, you find bakoshoit, you find requests for all sorts of things. You start off Rachim no Hashem Elokeinu al Yisrael Amecha. Oy, Ribono Shel Olam. Yisrael Amecha, Yerushalayim Irecha, Tzion Mishkan Kvodecha. And before you know it, we shouldn't need to come on, we shouldn't need loans, we shouldn't need to scrounge for parnasa. Build the Beis Hamikdash. Before you know it, what's it all about? The answer is that whenever we remember Yerushalayim, we remember what was. We remember that when we had Yerushalayim, we had Parnasa, Hatzlacha, Bracha, Yeshua, Nechama, Parnasa, Chalkola, Rachmim, Chaim, Shalom, V'chol Tov. And that is evoked when we daven for Yerushalayim. This is what we had, and this is what we've lost. And Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld used to tell over a true story of something that happened in the Yishuv HaYoshon in the old city of Yerushalayim about 80 years ago. There was a man, tremendously poor, and he became sick. He had an illness in his leg. He just about had money to go to the doctor in Yerushalayim, in Shaarei Tzedek of old. He went to the doctor, and the doctor told him that in Israel, there's no cure for this. There's one professor that he'd heard of in Vienna. In Vienna, there's a big professor who perhaps knows how to cure this ailment. What should we do? Poor Yid, Yerushalayim Yid from the old city. He went, he collected enough money to get to Haifa. Haifa, the port. Again, there were people, business people, and he collected, schlepping his leg with him, until finally, he bought himself a return ticket to Vienna. He arrived in Vienna, and he asked to be taken to this doctor, to this big professor. And in fact, he managed to secure an appointment, and he came into the professor, and the professor told him, yes, I can cure your leg. But when he told him the astronomical sum that it's going to cost for the operation, absolutely impossible, not child. And the man went out completely broken-hearted. He sat on the sidewalk and he cried, and he cried, and he cried. And as these beautiful stories go, this is a true story. A carriage came by, and a handsome man came out, and he asked him, why are you crying? And the man, he told him the whole story. He said, I came from Israel, and I needed an operation, and I had no money, and The doctors just gave me the bad tidings that I had no way of doing this, of getting a refuah. At which the man took out a piece of paper and he scribbled on the paper and he said, take it to the doctor and everything will be okay. Took it to the doctor and kachava. So it was. The doctor did the operation and he healed in Vienna for a couple of weeks. He sailed back to Israel and they made a big Kabbalas ponim for this Yid when he came back to the old city. And they put him at the top table with the other Rabbonim, and he was sitting there, and he was crying and crying and crying. And they asked him, Rabbi, why are you crying? It's a miracle. So he said, no, you don't understand. He said, do you know who that man was who stopped the carriage? It was no other than Franz Josef himself, the Caesar of Vienna at the time, of Austria, King of Austria. And if I would have known at the time that it was Franz Josef himself, I would have asked him for his help for the whole Altstadt, for the whole old city. For me, what a wasted opportunity. What a wasted opportunity. I used Franz Josef's signature for my leg, when in a blink, he could have saved the whole old city and given us parnasa v'chol tov. That's why I'm crying. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld used to say over this story, and he used to say that there are times in the year where we have such golden opportunities. Every Shabbos is an opportunity. Every Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is such an opportunity. Every Chanukah, every Pesach, and every Tisha B'Av is an opportunity. And we sometimes waste the opportunity on a klinikite, on a shtus, on something that doesn't go and that's it, we've had it. And we've missed that opportunity. And that's what we've got to cry about today. On the Zechor Mehoy Olonu, the opportunities that we had and the opportunities that were lost. Like this man who's mourning, not capitalizing on what he could have. There are things in our lives that are irretrievable. Talk for myself, but as a child you say, when I'll be in yeshiva. And when you're in yeshiva you say, when I'll be in kollel, when I'll be married. And when you're married you say, when the children will be older. And there's that famous Mishnah in Ahavas that echoes in our ears, Al toima efne eshne. Don't say when I'll have time, I'll do it. Shem aloi tipone. Maybe that time will never arrive. And we'll have missed the opportunity of life. As a community we miss opportunities, and as in our personal lives. A man, Rabbeinu Bachai used to, somewhere writes, there was a man who came to see a city. He came to see a city. How do you know what the city is like if you want in half an hour to sum up a city? So he went to the Beis HaKvaros. Beis HaKvaros, he can see Ka, Nitman, this tzaddik, this Baal Chesed, this holy man. He went to see the Beis HaKvaros. Recounted Rabbeinu Bachai, this man was in shock. He went from one kiva to the next, one tombstone to the next, and on one tombstone it says, Chai Chomesh Shonim. Young, Shmoine Shonim, Eser Shonim. The oldest person he saw a tombstone of was Shmoine Esrei Shonim. He said, I'm out of here. This is Eretz Recheles Yishveo. This is a land people don't last here. But before he left, he asked the president of the town, what's all this about? What happened? What's going on in this city? So he said, you don't understand. You don't understand that in our city, we don't count the amount of years a person goes through life. Everybody in our town has a pad, and he writes on how many hours he davened, how many hours he learnt, how many hours of chesed he did, how many hours he helped out at home, wherever it is in community. And we add that up. And the grand total of those amount of hours translate into days and months and years. And that's what we write on the person's tombstone. That's what we write. How many years of total productivity did this man have in his life? This is a stark way to understand how much of our life is squandered opportunities that could be filled with Torah, with Tefillah, with doing Chesed and Stocker. And today's Kinnah is all about how we must learn from this and not allow this to happen again. I'm no Navi, nor am I one who's fond of when the Geula is coming and the Bible codes and whatever goes with it. But I would like to tell over a story that Reb Shimon Schwab used to tell over. Reb Shimon Schwab was once called into the Chavetz Chaim, and the Chavetz Chaim asked him the strangest question. The Chavetz Chaim said to him, "Why are you not a Kohen?" And we all know the Kohen of a Kohen because my father wasn't. My father wasn't a Kohen. He said, "Why was your father not a Kohen?" It was already uncomfortable with the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim's tzaddik, gone, he knew everything. Nigla, Nista, Talmud Shef, Zoya. Yeah, it's the question. So he was quiet. And the Chavetz Chaim said to Reb Shimon Schwab the following. He said, many, many years ago, at the Cheto Egel, there were the Chelek of Klal Yisrael who were serving the Egel, who were dancing around the Egel, who did not protest when the Egel was being served. And then Moshe Rabbeinu came down, and Moshe Rabbeinu said, Mila Hashem Elai, who's coming with me? Said the Chavetz Chaim, and Yisrael Mei HaKoyen Kegen. Said to the Chavetz Chaim, my grandfather heeded the call. Your grandfather didn't. My grandfather heeded the call and went to Moshe Rabbeinu. And at that moment, my grandfather and the whole of Shevet Levi became in place of the Bechorim, the firstborns. They became the ones to do the Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, and they became the Kohanim at that moment in time. And your grandfather didn't do it. That's why I'm a Kohen and you're a Yisrael. That's why I can serve in the Beis HaMikdash and you not. Said the Chavetz Chaim, there's going to come a time and there's going to be another call. Mila Hashem Elai. Just make sure you don't make that mistake again. That's what the Chavetz Chaim told Reb Shimon Schwab. And today, the feeling is that we're in a situation of a milchama. On the one hand, the incredible explosion of Torah is profound. What our children know, our boys, our girls, the yeshivas, the seminaries, the flourishing of Torah today, it's all over. You have to be completely stupid not to tap in to all the Torah that exists in the world. Shuls, minyanim, the diktuk mitzvahs that you're able to do today, our tzitzis and our tefillin. We wouldn't wear our great-great-grandfather's tefillin. The Rav in your great-great-grandfather's shul, his esrog, you would not buy for your child today. We have no idea the explosion of Torah, of Yerushalayim, Eruv. You have everything. Every seafood Shulchan Aruch. It's beautiful. On the other hand, however, the promiscuity, the lack of shame in the world, the zanus, the breakdown of relationships. One click and you're there. Somebody told me yesterday a survey done by Goyim that 85% of the internet is made for znus. I think no prize for it, but must be not far off. Sedoim and Amoira in today's age is permissible. To England and other countries where everything they did in Stoma and Moira is okay today. In the Torah, in the Old Testament, that they know and they believe in, that it says it's called a toyeva, it's called an abomination. The music, the words that exist today that are allowed to be said, there's never been a generation like this. And we are standing in this milchama, in the milchama that the Chavetz Chaim was talking about. And that Reb Chatzkel Levenstein said, the famed Ponovitch Mashkiach, he said that when Mashiach comes, just like 4/5 didn't survive, only 1/5 survived. He did not want to say numbers, but he said not everybody will survive the battle. And the Ruzhiner Rebbe said that when Mashiach comes, there's going to be a big rope, a metaphoric rope, and everybody's going to be hanging onto that rope, and it's going to be shaken. And only those who hang on tight are going to be saved, are going to be there. And we have to ask ourselves the question. There's a call, Mila Hashem Ilai. Today, this Tisha B'Av, Tovshin Ayin Ches. And this is the cry that the Chavetz Chaim, and Reb Chatzkel and the original were talking about. We have to make a decision. We have to make a decision. We've missed enough opportunities in our lives, in our personal lives, in Klal Yisrael. And this is what we cried about today. And we have to just make sure that we will never ever lose the last and final opportunity that if squandered will not come back. The 0 hour has arrived, and it's upon us, this Tisha B'Av, it's a very unique Tisha B'Av, to make this decision. This year, Tisha B'Av is on the 10th, not on the 9th of Av. In Plan A, before the Egel happened, there was supposed to be a Yom Tov every single one of the summer months. In Nisan, Pesach, in Iyar, Pesach Sheni, in Sivan, Matan Torah, and then in Tammuz was supposed to be Rosh Hashanah, and in Av was supposed to be Yom Kippur. And on the 10th of Av was supposed to be Yom Kippur. However, because of the Chet HaEgel, so everything was pushed off, and in Tishrei there are 3 Yom Tovim corresponding to the Yom Tovim that we missed. So we have Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot in Tishrei. But in Plan A, Yom Kippur was supposed to be today. And the Chidah writes that anything that was supposed to be, that was a Hava bin Abai HaKadosh Baruch Hu, still exists. And therefore, today, just like on Yom Kippur, the Satan has no koyach. So today, on the 10th of Av, which should have been the day of Yom Kippur, says the Chidah, the Satan has no koyach. He goes as far as to say that we know the main Churban happened on the 10th. And the reason is, it was Mechazli Hashem, because the Havamina day of Yom Kippur is such a day of Rachamim, that on that day was the day where HaKadosh Baruch Hu took out the anger on sticks and stones, rather than on Klal Yisrael. It's tremendous, tremendous day today, and we're standing in the Ne'ilah of the Havamina of Yom Kippur. And it's a day where the Satan is gone, the Satan is away. And it's the perfect opportunity, the Ne'ilah, to make this decision together in our own lives, in the lives of our family, and in the lives of our community. To heed to that cry, Mila Hashem Ilai, and not to Chas v'Shalom squander the opportunity that's coming our way to greet Mashiach b'meheira. May we all be mekabel pnei Mashiach together b'meheira v'yameinu amen.